Just 6 months ago, Michigan was not a national title contending team. I would not have been surprised if they just finished in the top 10 at the national championships. But at the 2022 national championships, those are supposed to be held in Detroit, Michigan. And with Michigan's 100th program season under their belt this year, things really started brewing. And they started thinking that this could be their one chance, their one shot to really win a national title. So let me take you back to where that all began. Let's stop stalling and start talking wrestling. Michigan finished in 5th place at the national championships last year with multiple All-Americans. Amine at 165, Logan Massa at 174, Myles Amine at 184, and national finalist Mason Paris at heavyweight. There were a couple guys that were rumored to maybe not be returning, and I wouldn't have been surprised. Myles Amine, for example, wrestled 197 pounds and had a heartbreaking loss in the semifinals. He was the number 1 seed and supposed to win the weight, and for the 3rd time placed 3rd at the national championships. I wouldn't have been surprised if he didn't come back, just because dealing with all of that pain, all of that disappointment again could have been tough to handle. But he took that and pushed that towards an Olympic medal where he earned in August. And at that time, he wasn't sure if he was going to come back for the season. The other wrestler who wasn't sure if he was going to come back was Logan Massa. He'd got on the stand again and finished his season with a win in 5th place. That's not something that every wrestler can say, ending their career in their season on a win. That was pretty impressive and could have been a good way to go out. And with everything else going on with him off the mat, he just recently had a kid and a big blessing in his life. I wouldn't have been surprised if he didn't return. So at the time, Michigan was out 2 All-Americans and down 20 plus potential points in team scoring. Now, I wasn't doubting Michigan's incomers and their backups, but that's some tough talent to have lost. So it was looking like 2022 could have been a down year for Michigan. Then things started to change. Wheels started turning. On September 9th, Myles Amine announced that he would return to the Michigan Wolverines for their 100th season. This was a 4-time national place winner. And not only that, he was actually going to be switching weights, going down to 184 pounds, having previously wrestled 165, 174, and last season 197. This year, 184 had something to look out for. He said he had unfinished business and he wants to get to the top of the podium. And the ball kept rolling because just a few weeks later, Stefan Micic announced his return to the mat. Now, we weren't sure exactly what eligibility Stefan Micic even had left. He's been wrestling in college since 2015 and has had Olympic red shirts, medical red shirts, other red shirts, and other situations happening with his eligibility that we weren't really sure if he would be allowed to come back for another year. But with this eligibility, he was granted the opportunity for one last season with the Wolverines, and he decided to take advantage of that. And he is actually who played a key role in getting a lot of this team to come back.
This is our Team 100. This is our NCAA tournaments in Detroit.
These 2 decisions alone put Michigan back in the conversation as at least a top 5 contending team. And the other thing that a lot of fans forgot about at the time was Pat Brucky at 197, who just a couple seasons ago transferred from Princeton to Michigan. He had last season off due to an injury, but he would be returning to the Wolverines, giving them some real power with another All-American in the lineup. There was one other wrestler at 125 pounds who still wasn't sure what he was going to do, where he was going to go. Was it going to be Penn State, Ohio State, Arizona State? That wrestler, of course, is Nick Soriano, and I had an inkling that he would go back to a Big Ten school, and that's just what he did when at the end of November he announced that he would be returning to college wrestling for the Michigan Wolverines. This was huge to have a national champion in the lineup. But there was still one missing piece. What was going on with Logan Massa? Would he return to the lineup? Well, we got that answer just a couple weeks later when on December 11th, he decided to wrestle unattached in the Cleveland State Open. He scored 50-plus points at the event and showed that he was back with a vengeance. All of the pieces were finally fitting together. Nick Suriano at 125, and now that Spencer Lee's out for the season with a knee injury, unfortunate circumstances, but it does give Suriano a better chance to win the title. Micic going from 133 to 141, he has a tough claim at the weight, and he could definitely win that weight. At 165, Cam Amine has a chance to All-American again. 174, Logan Massa, multiple-time All-American. Olympian Myles Amine going for 184 pounds. Pat Bruckey at 197, already an All-American. And then national finalist Mason Parris. This lineup is stacked. That's not even to mention there are other tough guys in the lineup like Will Luan, Kanan Storr, and Dylan Ragusin, who all honestly have All-American potential. These guys all wanted to come back to help Michigan make history. They went from being a team with no chance to being a real national title threat. But of course, the road won't be easy with Iowa, Penn State, Oklahoma State all contending against them. They will not make things easy. Michigan needs to overperform at just about every weight in order to compete. But with the national championships being held in Detroit, it being their 100th season, a lot of momentum behind the Michigan program right now, and not even to mention just how good their track record is between all of these All-Americans and national place winners, Michigan stands a really good shot to win the title. What do you think? Will Michigan end up pulling it off? Could this be the craziest upset of the century, craziest comeback? I'd love to hear what you have to say, and if you're interested in another wrestling video, I recommend that you check this one out right here.